Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the Nubia Red Magic 5G. This is their latest gaming phone with 5G technology built in and comes in between $500 and $600 or so, and is available with 8 gigabytes or up to 16 gigabytes of RAM with 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage. Now let's flip this over and unbox it here. So we'll take the packaging off here, or the wrapper, and let's go ahead and open it up. And inside we have the phone itself. Now it should have an under-the-screen fingerprint sensor. We'll take a closer look at that in a moment. And let's take this packaging off. And we have 3 different envelopes, or 3 different packages. So inside this one, we've got a SIM card removal tool. Then we've got our quick start guide, it says here, just some information about the phone, and then a warranty card as well. Now on the right we have a charging brick, and this is not the United States variant, but there will be a United States variant. It's USB-A to USB-C. Put this back, and then in here we should have our USB-C charge cable. So in here is the charging cable. It's a nice red color, again USB-A to USB-C. So let's set that aside and take a closer look at the phone itself. Let's go ahead and take the wrapper off the phone. This is a really interesting color. You can see it says 5G here. You've got your cameras. So let's go over the specs of the phone. We'll take a look at the design, the specs, and everything else. Now around the outside edge, we have a little switch here. This is usually a gaming switch. We have a little vent on the side, so it's got air that goes through one side and out the other to keep the processor cool. Then we've got some pogo pins for some other accessories they sell. On top, we have a microphone and a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On the right, again, we've got these shoulder buttons, just like last year's Nubia Red Magic 3S. You've got shoulder buttons here. You've got your vent or intake, and then you've got a power and volume button here. And they feel like they're metal, but I'm not sure if they are. On the bottom, we've got a speaker, and then we've also got our USB-C charging port along with a microphone. Now, we also have a SIM card slot as well. Now, we'll pop out the SIM card tray, and we should have dual SIM capability. So on each side, we can place a SIM card. There is no expandable storage in this phone. Now let's take a look at the specs. Now this is the 12 gigabyte model with 256 gigabytes of storage. Internally, we have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 along with super fast UFS 3.0 storage and DDR5 RAM. So not only is the display 144 Hz, it's 6.65 inches. It's an AMOLED display, 1080 by 2340 with 388 pixels per inch, and it supports DCI-P3. Now, not only is it 144 Hz, but it has a 240 Hz touch eSports ultra smooth display. It also has 300 Hz touch sensing capability on the triggers. Now on the back, we have a couple different cameras. We have a 64 megapixel Sony sensor with an f1.8 wide lens. We also have an 8 megapixel ultra wide and a 2 megapixel macro camera, so that's pretty interesting. We can also record in 4K 60 or 8K as well. On the front, we have an 8 megapixel f2.0 wide forward facing camera as well. Internally, we have a 4500 milliamp hour battery that supports fast charging with 55 watt chargers and should charge at about 56% in 15 minutes. It will charge 100% in 40 minutes if you have that fast charger. Now it also supports Wi-Fi 802.11 A, B, G, N, AC, and AX, or Wi-Fi 6, and Bluetooth 5.0 A2DP aptX LE. So this is packed full of specs for half the price of what you get with a Samsung S20 Ultra, for example. But we don't have that huge camera array on the back. So let's go ahead and boot it up. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and set it up. So we'll connect to a mobile network. Now it's connecting and checking for updates. And one thing I noticed is it says 90 Hertz in the upper left of the display. So it says detected a new version, update now. So we'll go ahead and update. And it says it optimizes Play Store compatibility and camera applications. So let's go ahead and update this. Now it's asking if I want to copy apps and data. I won't copy. I'll set it up as new. And it says just a sec, checking info. And we can sign in with Google or do that later. We'll skip that for now and just try to get to the home screen as fast as we can here. Now this does have an under the screen fingerprint sensor. So it says unlock with fingerprint. We'll hit next. So we'll go ahead and set up the fingerprint sensor. Every time we do it, you can see the screen gets brighter. It's kind of interesting. So it must be optical, similar to what OnePlus has. It says fingerprint added. We'll hit next. And it says adding finishing touches. Just to give you a size idea, here is the Red Magic 5G next to a Pixel 4 XL. So you'll see the size difference. Thickness wise, it's actually not too big. It has a nice curved edge to it, so it's not too much bigger, but the display is bigger. Now if we put our finger on the fingerprint sensor, there's an interesting animation, and we won't copy here. Now this is the home screen of the Nubia Red Magic 5G, and we'll go to settings here after it updated, and you can see this is the 12 gigabyte variant with 256 gigabytes of storage, running Android 10 with the March 1st, 2020 security patch. So it's actually pretty up to date already. Maybe there'll be a new update very soon with the latest security patch. Now it's also running Red Magic OS version 3.0. Now the home screen skin looks like this. It's pretty familiar as far as any other you've seen on Red Magic. Now, a couple things to note. This is very similar to the Google Now launcher. So if I slide over here, we've got basically our Google Now view, but you can't swipe up to go back. You have to swipe back to get there. So it's kind of interesting. And then it's highly customizable. So you can see I have it set to 144 Hertz for the display. And you have that option to change it from 144 Hertz to 90 or 60 and leave it in the status bar. So you can change it to 144 for esports, change it back when you need to save some battery. So that's really nice as well. Now in the notification and status bar, we can also show our network speed. So right now it's going to give us our overall speed if we're using network connectivity. And it's just nice that we have all these little customizable options that are really key to people that are playing games on their phone. And if you don't like the gestures that I've been using, you can get back the navigation bar, switch it out to whatever you'd like. And other than that, you can see we have Neo AI for smart game, Neo Speed that helps you with gaming. And you've just got all these really nice effects, such as colorful lighting effects or low power off and all sorts of things. Now, another interesting thing is, other than the lighting, we have the cooling fan, and we can tell it to turn on to max speed or even have it turned on for quick charging so it keeps the battery cool. And then you can have it shut down as well. So it's really neat to have all of these different options, and it's just something that's a little bit different than anything else you see out there. And you also have some options such as always on display. They have some nice options here, but the thing that sets this phone apart from others that I've seen is not its skin, but rather its gaming mode. So in the upper left, we have this little switch here. We flip the switch and we go into our game mode. And so you can see we have access to the cooling fan, RGB LED strip. So if we go into that, we have an RGB LED strip on the back. So we'll wait for it to turn on or off. It lights up this part right here. You can turn it on or off if you want to use that. And then also the cooling fan on or off. Now we also have some other options. If we swipe from the right, we have options for our fan. We have our display being switched to 144 Hertz just by tapping on it. We also have 4D shock, so it's supposed to be a better haptic feedback motor. And then access to things such as blocking calls, blocking messages, or taking a snap of the phone, basically a screenshot. And then it also tells us what our CPU and GPU are running at, and it's got a bunch of really interesting stats that you don't normally see on other phones. So it's definitely set up for gaming. Now let me go ahead and add some games so we can take a closer look. Now I've added a couple different games to this phone, and let's go into the gaming mode. Now as soon as I do this, you're going to hear the fans kick on. So we'll rotate it here. And it's not terribly loud. Let's see if you can hear this. Now that's what the fan sounds like. You can turn it off with this button here. And then it kicks back on, and it seems to do a good job. You can actually feel air blowing out of the bottom here. So let's go ahead and try a game. Now, because this is in the game mode here, you can go through, swipe through your games, add a game. You can sign in, and then if you swipe to the right, it also, again, shows you what your CPU usage is at. You can assign your triggers and things like that. It's really nice. So let's go into Asphalt 9 first. It seems super fast as well, and the sound is quite good, but I have it turned down for this video. Now this game is super smooth at 144 Hertz. You can see that everything is running nice and smooth. It's in full resolution. Everything's turned all the way up. And the phone is staying fairly cool, but it is getting a little bit warm. And let me go ahead and go back to the game space here. You can just swipe in at any time. And the back of the phone is warming up a little bit, but that's to be expected when playing something intensive and ramping up the CPU and GPU. Let's swipe over and go to Call of Duty and check that out. So this game is super smooth on this display. It looks great. It looks better than I remember it on the Xbox 360. And in general, it's very playable. No problems here. The frame rate's super smooth. You've got that fan keeping everything nice and cool. Now, if we want to exit the game, we can just swipe to the right, go to the game space, and we're back to the main screen. Flip our switch here, and we're back to the home screen. The fan shuts off, and you just use the phone as a normal device, and all of your settings go back to normal. It's a really nice way to do a gaming phone, and it's pretty interesting. Now, as far as the camera is concerned on the back, we have some interesting options. So if we go into the camera, you'll see that we have some zoom options. So let me put the Pixel 4 XL underneath so you can see this. But we can go to 3x, 5x, and then 10x. And it's actually pretty clear. It's not too bad. And we also have the option for macro photos, which you don't really see too often. So what you need to do in order to get macro is you actually go into the camera family here. And then in the camera family, you go to macro. And so maybe I want to get really close to this. Looks like it's in focus. There we go. We've got some focus peaking, which means just the red outline here that lets you know you're in focus. And you can see we have a macro shot. So if we zoom in, it's actually pretty nice. So it's nice to have that as an option on the camera. And then also you have some really nice video options as well. So if we go into the options here, you see we've got grid and things like that. Let's see if we can go back to photo or video rather. Then go back into options, and you'll see for the resolutions, we have all the way up to 8K, but it recommends it for outdoor use because it probably needs a lot of light. So I've set it to 4K 60. So that's really nice. It's got that option. So let's go ahead and see what it sounds like. We'll go ahead and hit record. And now we're recording from the Red Magic 5G. So this is what it sounds like, just recording out of it. It does seem to have some odd focus issues from time to time. It doesn't seem like it's dual pixel autofocus. But this phone is fine for most people as far as photos and video, but it's not going to be something like an S20 or a Pixel 4 XL for photos, at least with this current version of software. So here's my video on the Nubia Red Magic 3S. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the speakers quick and turn them up. Latest processor, 8 gigs of RAM or 12, depending on which one you get. They go nice and loud, but they do distort at high end. So it's pretty good. You've got a nice stereo sound as well. That's it for the Nubia Red Magic 5G. Let me know what you think about this color and the phone in general in the comments below. For its price, it's really hard to beat as far as what you get for specs, gaming. You've got a fan. You don't have an IP rating really that's going to protect it because you have open vents and things. But in general, it's a solid package for the price, and you've got a 144 Hertz display, which is really impressive. But again, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description as I always do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.